The Whitewater Community Television 2019 annual meeting is being made possible through the support of Eastern Indiana Works, providing resources and assistance to employers looking for talent and talent looking for a position, while helping develop tomorrow's workforce today. Eastern Indiana Works, the workforce development solution for Region 6. EasternIndianaWorks.org.
Welcome to the Whitewater Community Television Annual Membership Meeting. We first want to thank our sponsor for this year's annual meeting, a first for us, Eastern Indiana Works. Mike Rao and his staff are responsible for workforce development for Region 6, which includes 9 counties here in East Central Indiana. They have developed a great working relationship with Eric and our production staff during the past year, and we certainly appreciate their support. We will hear from Mike a little later in this program. I am Amy Holthouse with Rosa's Office 360, and I am the president of the Whitewater Community Television Board of Directors. Our bylaws call for us to hold this event to update the membership for our activities for the past year. Since this is an official event, I would like to call this meeting to order. First, I'd like to ask our current board members to stand and please be recognized. If there are any former board members of the WCTV board in attendance, would you also please stand to be recognized? This organization is over 30 years old and still going strong. We attribute that to the work of the previous staff and boards that they put in to help get this organization started and to keep it moving forward through the years. So whenever possible, we like to recognize those and show our appreciation to the community members. The agenda for this meeting was handed out at the door as you came in. We will also have this visually for you on the screen. And to start, I would like to accept a motion for the agenda for the meeting as shown. So moved. Thank you. Also in the packet that you were given, you have a copy of the minutes from last year's annual meeting. If you've had time to look through those, are there any questions or corrections to last year's minutes? Hearing none, I need a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion and a second? Second. All in favor signify by please saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The minutes are accepted. I would now like to ask Don Benzinger with First Bank Richmond and on our WCTV board as treasurer to come forward to please take us through the 2018-2019 fiscal year-end report.
I'll keep this short because I know no one wants to spend their time listening to this. So there's more exciting information that we have. Just to let you know, our operating income for the fiscal year 18, which ended June 30th of 2019, was $304,000, and that was a 14% increase over the previous year. So we saw a good increase in the operating income. And really the major components, and this information again is in your packet, but we receive a substantial amount of money on the part of the franchise tax from the city of Richmond. IU East, we receive money from them for services that WCTV provides to them. The Wayne County, we receive funds. Production is also an increasing line item on the income statement as we do more and more work for different organizations. And then the fundraiser that we have every year, 21 for Fun. So those are the 5 major components of the operating income. On the expense side, we increased our expenses $56,000 to a total of $289,000 for this last fiscal year. And we did that, we knew that was going to occur, additional personnel, additional compensation expense. I mean, that goes up a little bit every year. But I mentioned earlier the production expense, or the production income is increasing, so that it doesn't happen by magic. So we have to have people to do that, as well as some additional work that we do for IU East, because the income from them also increased year over year. So when you take all that out, our income was still up $15,000 of revenue over expense. So we still had a positive for the year, and that also funds our smaller capital expenditures that we have for certain smaller pieces of equipment. So that's where we stood for the year that ended June 30th, 2019. If anyone has any questions, I'll try to answer them. And hopefully I kept it short enough for you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. I need a motion to accept the 2018-2019 financial report.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by please saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The 2018-2019 year-end financial report has been approved. Whitewater Community Television was incorporated as a 501c3 not-for-profit corporation in 1988 by local community members who felt that a public education and government access center was necessary. This is a place where local stories, entertainment, and information could be shared. That group of people were the first WCTV Board of Directors. They set a strong path forward for this organization. We recognized our current Board of Directors at the beginning of the meeting, and as part of our planning process, we have made the decision to grow our Board of Directors. In a few minutes, we will be asking you to approve these new board members. The slate of board members being brought before you for a vote will continue our mission of providing diversity of thought, profession, and community. Andrea Dudas of RMD Patty and Ron Cross of Boston Beaver Clingy Cross in Chittister are filling 1 year's President's Choice positions. They're 1-year terms that are suggested by the President and approved by the board. We appreciate their continued support, and those members seeking to fill positions to be voted on by this membership include Angela Klein from Reed Health. Angela is moving from a 1-year to a 3-year position. Also, Tony Foster of RPNL. He is a past WCTV board member who, after more than a decade away, has agreed to come back. And other potential new board members include Anna Drake from Harrington Hoke, Andy Floyd with West End Bank, Amanda Marquis, who works with the Leland Legacy and owns the Corner Cafe at the Leland. Allison Washington Lacey is a senior consultant for Beauty Counter, and Laura Lee Heights of Stratavise Consulting. These are the names before the Board of that the Board of Directors is bringing before the membership for approval. Before we vote, however, I would like to open the floor and ask if there are any additional nominations. Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to close the nominations. A motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor for closing the nominations, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The nominations are now closed. To wrap up the business portion of our meeting, I need a motion to accept the slate of board members as presented. A motion and a second? All opposed, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Congratulations and welcome to our new board members.
So yeah, 45% of us stay home because you're infringing upon our free will.
For the peace from above and for our salvation, let us pray to the Lord.
By this I know that thou favorest me, because mine enemy does not triumph over me.
And I'm not particularly singling them out, I'm really not. Except that the illustration is so clear because of the response they wrote.
For as long as the kingdom of God has been at work in the world, social media and different pictures have been posted.
And the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you.
There is a harvest coming if you'll just keep sowing. We read in Psalm 120.
So with the ministry that you feel God's leading you to do, is there a chance?
On its face.
Like, the government cannot come in and say, this is the regulation, we're going to do it.
The first book is the book of life. This is the book where all those who have received Christ as their Savior have their name.
This study, but they said the most persecuted people in the world today are Christians.
It should be a little bit larger, but they didn't want the balcony to come out too far.
That's right.
And Drake Kogan.
Hello everyone, this is Don Tusher.
Yeah, actually, IU East only lost 4 matches from that point on.
Timeout, Roddy. Well, this is it's important. Stacy Dinsmore with the tip. Red Bulls are going to come away with it. And it's going to be Bailey Brown with a...
Hello, welcome back to our program. I'm your host, Nancy Cooksey.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right, minutes over. Back to it.
Definition of success while moving home.
responsible for implementing the
Common Council rules. About 6 years ago, I moved from 2 miles from living outside.
V.info. 21 for Fun, Friday, April 12th at the Oaks Country Club.
President Fairchild, the trustees of Indiana University. Let's meet our contestants, Ant 1, Ant 2, and Ant 3, and Ant 4.
when they come, we'll just get the rep.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Next on the agenda is the recommendation of the change order number 1, CSO 6
I would like to ask Mike Rao, President and CEO of Eastern Indiana Works, to come forward. So yes, in true television fashion, now a few words from our sponsor.
Well, thank you so much. It's really a blessing to be here with you this evening. And I'm supposed to keep this below 30 minutes, I'm told by Eric, so yeah, 3. So thanks. Yeah. Oh, I see my helper over there too. So no, it's a blessing to see you all. I just want to tell you what a thrill it is to work with Eric and his team and what that's meant to us. In terms of, we've just undergone a rebranding effort, and they've been instrumental in not just launching that, but also sustaining it and getting the word out to viewers throughout the region. So what we offer in return is we connect Eric and Ryan to various employers throughout Eastern Indiana in the 9-county region we serve. So in fact, I will go out on a limb and say that the Eastern Indiana Works show was instrumental in us obtaining a $1.5 million grant from DOL passed through from the state of Indiana to attempt to fight the opioid epidemic. So we will be launching that, and there will be a show that focuses on that in the near future. So just thrilled at our partnership and want to thank each and every one of you for allowing us to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Our speaker for today is Tim Scales. Tim is the director for the Center for Entrepreneurship. He is faculty for finance, economics, a senior lecturer in management, and a member of the Honors Program Committee at Indiana University East. Tim holds degrees from Anderson University, the University of Wisconsin in Madison, Indiana University East, and a Certificate of Leadership and Excellence from the Disney Institute. He is the former Vice President, Director of Marketing for First Bank Richmond, and sits on many boards, including the Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, and he is a former WCTV board member. Additionally, Tim is the host of In Your Business, which is now in its 14th year on WETV, Channel 20. To speak to our theme of bringing vision to your mission, please welcome Professor Tim Scales.
Thank you, Amy.
A little different crowd than what I speak to at some points, because a lot of times I walk into a room and it's full of educators, whether it be in Indiana, California, or outside of the country. And some of my opening lines have included, how many of you have a television show? When I walk into a room of educators and I say, how many of you have a television show? No hands go up. And then I say, I do. And it's always fun because they look at me like, who are you? I thought you were an instructor. Well, I am, but because of the television station and having an education channel, I've been able to have a TV show. And it started 14 years ago, and tonight I'm going to tell you how it started, because some of you may not know. But I had just started teaching. I had left the bank and went full-time at the university. And I was asked to bring a young man from India to Richmond. I didn't know a whole lot about India, but I said, sure, why not? So I read the young man's profile. He's 19 years old, and he's very active. He's a DJ, and he likes to have fun. That's what I knew about him. I met him in DC, and we traveled back to Richmond. We sat in my living room that first night, and I said, Johan, you're going to be here for 3 months. What is one thing that you would like to take back with you? And he said, the experience of bungee jumping. And I said, oh, I don't know where to do that. And Johan said, that's what I'd like to do. And I was expecting something educational, right? So I thought about it. The next day I came home and I said, Johan, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's going to be possible for you to bungee jump. And Johan said, that's okay. And I said, oh, no, it's going to get better. You're going to jump out of an airplane. And he said, that is better. And I said, well, we're going to go out to skydive Wayne County, and you're going to jump out of an airplane at 12,000 feet in the air. How's your parents going to like that? And he said, no problem. I said, you're going to call them, and we're going to make sure. And Johan said, no problem. So I asked him the next several days, have you spoken with your parents? Yes. I knew he was lying. But it's okay. We made the arrangements. We went to the airport. We waited, and we waited. And it took about 3 days before we actually got Johan up in the air. But it was quite interesting, because when we finally went out on that third day, and it was getting ready to happen, just about 10 minutes before this 19-year-old goes up in an airplane to jump, he walks over and says, Tim, we have a problem. I said, what's wrong, Johan? And he said, I've got my good shoes on. He said, can we change? He took my shoes. He didn't want to get his dirty. And so he wore my shoes. He went up in the airplane. Thank goodness we sent up a camera with him. And when we came back home and we were watching in the living room, I said, we've got to share this with other people. And so Johan and I discussed it and decided that's how we were going to start the TV show In Your Business. And so the first episode was Skydive Wayne County. And Johan jumped out of that airplane, and we shared it with our community. And then it triggered something else in education. If he had never had that experience, what other experience could we give him? And so we wound up giving him 21 experiences in Wayne County, Indiana, over the next 3 months. And we would always video it. So we made 21 episodes of a TV show while Johan was here during that 3 months. Everything from cutting down a Christmas tree to making coffee, you name it, anything he hadn't done, we found a way to do it in Wayne County. Now, when Johan went back to India, I got to thinking about how difficult that must have been on him, to have these experiences in a foreign country that he didn't know what he was doing. But it wasn't 30 days until I received a phone call from his principal. Father Fraser said, Tim, is Johan lying to us? He told us about these experiences. He told us about a TV show. And I said, no, sir, he did it. We did it. And he said, then you have to come to India. And the next summer, I went to India. And I taught at St. Xavier's College, which is where Johan was from. There was 20,000 students there. And those students were so impressed with what Johan had done and what we were doing that became the attention of the whole campus when I was there. So we went ahead and went out, and the students at St. Xavier's joined me, and we made 9 episodes of In Your Business Hindi. And so I believe we have just a clip, right? I'd like you to listen to this.
I want to ask him something about people here tend to come and bargain. So what does he think about it? जो लोग आते हैं और फिर bargaining करते तो
बार्गेनिंग करेंगे तो अगर वो अपने प्राइस में आएंगे तो देंगे, नहीं तो हम लोग का जो लास्ट प्राइस रहता है वो बोल के छोड़ देंगे हम लोग. फिर किधर नहीं मिलेगा तो वापस आके लेके जाएंगे.
He lets people bargain to a certain last price. They have a fixed last price, and if people try to go below that, they refuse to sell, and eventually people end up coming back because the shoes are reasonable and cheap. At this point in the show, we'd like to experience the business, so we'll have Professor Tim look at some shoes.
So, in this episode, if you'll notice, The student that was helping me, I had to really pay attention just to understand her accent, but she's the one that took it out into Hindi and actually communicated with that business. But it's so neat though, because through this TV show, we've been able to not only share the education of business in our local community, but around the globe. And it's been quite entertaining for me because I've been working with students. From day one, we had students who would film and edit and bring this show alive, in addition to Johan. And some of these students have gone on and gotten some great jobs, like Ryan. Ryan was one of my earliest students that worked with me at the TV, okay? We had no idea he was going to wind up working at the TV station. But he went with me and filmed in Indianapolis, and we did the Crystal House over there. But he also did all of the editing work for my India collection. So great jobs. The other thing though, and I hope that everybody in the room realizes the impact that education television has. I didn't, but I walk into Richmond High School, and I'm there quite frequently. I'll be there again Friday. When I walk into a classroom at Richmond High School and they say, "We're ready for you, we've been watching in your business." Okay? It's such a compliment. Then recently I was at Dennis Middle School, and the same thing happened. They said, "We're ready for you, we've been watching in your business." So I don't even realize, they don't call and say, "Hey Tim, could we watch it?" They just do it. So they have the access and they're using it. We don't even realize the impact. Over the last 14 years, I've had a lot of opportunities to stop doing the show, because it's a lot of work, okay? A lot of work for all of us. And what's interesting is I'll go to the mall, and in my mind I'll be thinking, maybe I should stop the show. And somebody says, "Hey, I was watching your show." And then I realize, no, you don't stop. Sometimes I'll come down to the TV station, and it might be on my mind, and I'll start speaking with the staff in the TV station. And I get excited, and I run back upstairs, and I'll start writing down a name for the next episode, you know, because it becomes exciting to work with the TV station. And the impact we're making is just huge. It's also helped the businesses increase. Last year, Kevin was on the television show with me from the barbecue place. Like, this was 2 years ago. And we were at 13th and L. A couple days later, I'm in there getting some food. And a lady walks in, and she starts ordering. And Casey looks at her, Kevin looks at her and says, "I don't think I've ever seen you here." And she says, "I've never been here, but I was watching your show." And he just looked at me and smiled, because it brought him business that he wasn't used to having. Is it me bringing him the business? No, it's the TV station bringing him the business. So tonight you need to celebrate that and understand what you're doing. You're increasing business. The other thing is fun, and Todd Duke is sitting here. I don't know why Todd is here this evening, but I'm sure he's here to support me.
That's exactly.
As always, okay? But Todd has worked very closely with me over the last 5 years as we've explored virtual reality. And I've done a lot of my research at the university around virtual reality, okay? And I've invited Phil to come out, and we've used the virtual reality, and we've explored it, and we've looked at different things we can do with it. And across campus, people know me for virtual reality. We have a lab. We have 10 units of a virtual reality lab, and students are in there every day having a great time. We're taking education to the next level. But what's true is, what's dearest to my heart is the fact that 3 years ago, we changed my set. And we went from what I thought was very boring to something that's very live. We go from the green screen to a virtual set. We use virtual reality at the television station. And that's important to me, because when guests come to visit my show, we go in front of the green screen. It's boring, it's awful. And then we walk out of that room, we have a beautiful stage, a beautiful set. And I've even had people ask me, could we come out and get a picture on your stage? I don't have a stage, okay? So I have to say no, not unless you're a guest, okay? Then we can get your picture. But did we even show the green screen? You want me to keep going, don't you? But it's fun because you can see that I've not aged a whole lot. But over the last 14 years, things have changed with the set. Again, being able to bring in the students has been important. One of the things that Ryan, I don't think, added here, but not only do we do local, but we also go global. And just, 4 years ago, we were in my office, and we filmed an episode of In Your Business with Venus Williams, the famous tennis player, okay? Venus started with us as an online student. I started teaching her business, and she made a promise to me when she found out I had a TV show that before she graduated, she would come on the show. Okay, a lot of people don't know that. That's the strength of our TV station, though. And I remember for about a month before we actually did it, Eric and I were talking about how we were going to do it, how we were going to make it happen. We had a date in mind. We had everything planned. And at the last minute, Venus said, Tim, it's not going to work out that day. We'll have to reschedule. It's the maddest I've ever seen Eric. The only time I've seen Eric get upset. And he wasn't really mad. But Eric said, that's not going to work. We can't just drop things. And I said, this is Venus, not me, you know? And then he got over it. And we wound up doing it on a Friday night on campus, and Ryan canceled his plans and came in and spent with us. And we wound up having to wait almost 3 hours as we did some other things on campus with her prior to actually filming the show. But it's been great to be able to have that kind of reach. When we started the show, it was very local. I mean, everything had to be right here. You had to be able to watch it at Tuesday night at 9:30. But today, anywhere in the world you can watch it because they're doing a great job with their YouTube channel, and they're doing a great job of streaming it. So people are getting to be able to be a part of WCTV and WETV all over the world. So I can't say enough great things about it. One other thing that did happen, and Eric and I talked about it, he wasn't even sure how, but just to kind of give you a compliment to what we're doing, how many of you have watched Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick? Okay? It's great. It's great Indiana news. And I thought it was interesting because early on, probably about 13 years ago, I was a guest, okay? And Gary and I interacted and chatted, and a lot of that happens off screen, okay, off camera. And I asked Gary, would he consider bringing the show to WCTV? And he said, of course, why not? Let's talk about it. So I get away from Gary and I'm talking to his management people, and they said, oh, we could look at it, but you do understand that if we put Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick on, there is a clause in the contract that says no competition shows, and your show would compete with his. I had to make a choice. So I went back in and talked to him. I said, Gary, we got a problem. He said, we don't have a problem. My show will air at 8:30, yours will air at 9:30. And Gary voided that clause in there just to make sure that we could be companions. And we have been together probably for 12 years, bringing Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick at 8:30 and In Your Business at 9:30. So again, I can't say enough about WETV, WCTV, Eric, the staff. Everybody's been great to work with. And have any questions for me? Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Tim, for all of your contributions to the station and everything that you've done over the years.
Thank you.
Community media takes a collaboration of people to make it work well in a community. It takes staff, volunteers, community members willing to create and share local content, and it takes the support and understanding of local government and business. As we thought about how to recognize individuals and organizations who assist Whitewater Community Television, we are pleased to say we had many, many choices. The following individuals and organizations and businesses are just some of what makes Whitewater Community Television thrive. First, our producer of the year. Besides hosting and producing Chamber Chat, the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce also helps put on their annual dinner in January, Community Improvement Awards, School is Cool event, plus a host of business education events, including this past year, bringing in special presentation to help businesses and organizations connect better by using Google. The Chamber works hard to think about how to make these events visual for those attending and how best to make it available for those who cannot. Our producer of the year this year is the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce.
We had a segment dedicated to a member. So Tom and Jen Farrell from Radford's. Hi, good to see you. So excited to have you with us.
I'm the Director of Marketing Communication, and part of that is letting you guys know what's going on with the Chamber, what events are coming up, and making sure that it gets on your calendar.
I'm Roxy Geer, the Director of Programs and Events for the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. On tonight's episode, we'll hear from Eric.
I'm Melissa Vance, the President and CEO of the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, and we are so pleased to have you with us today.
Van Fleet Insurance is a family-owned insurance agency that has been located in Richmond, Indiana.
Our first ever Commitment to Community Media Award goes to Indiana University East. IU East has been a supporter of the community media in Wayne County from its inception. Former IU East Chancellor Charlie Nelms was one of the original WCTV board members. His involvement and support, as well as the involvement and support of chancellors after him, has been vital not only to keeping WCTV on the air, but in providing hours of quality content for the community. From Focus on the Arts to the Lively Arts series, lectures, music events, and now live sports. Examples, WCTV will bring you 3 live volleyball matches from IU East just next week. As technology has changed, the IU East IT department has become a vital source of assistance in upgrading signal quality and considering future equipment purchases. We are pleased to award our first Commitment to Community Media Award to Indiana University East. Here accepting on behalf of the university is Todd Duke.
Congratulations.
We have about half of those students are traditional age students who perform at the state level.
It's senior night, so come out and show your support for the IU East Red Wolves, particularly.
Degree from IU Bloomington does, except you're getting a degree at a fraction of the cost.
A gentle holiday season.
The John Sherman Award. When Eric reached out to John Sherman to talk to him about WCTV giving an award with his name on it, there was discussion about the criteria. Obviously, the recipient needed to be involved in some way with production, host, producer, editing, whatever. There needed to be commitment and involvement. Longevity was also important to John, who spent 25 years with WCTV, so this commitment had to be there as well. There was one more point that was important to John. The recipient had to be willing to pass along his or her knowledge to others. And if it were being passed along to the younger generation, that was the ultimate. Eric and John both agreed that the first winner of the John Sherman Production Award should be Tim Scales. Our last... Oh, that's it. Yeah, Tim Scales. Sorry. I thought there was
Hi, I'm Tim Scales, the Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and the Center for Economic Education here at Indiana University East. It's my pleasure to introduce you to another episode of In Your Business. We talk to local entrepreneurs, we learn about their business, we learn about why they started their business, how they started their business, some of the opportunities their businesses has provided them and their community, as well as some of the hurdles they've gone through, some of the challenges.
Our last award is our Special Board Recognition Award, and this year, the first year, goes to someone who will be leaving the board. During his tenure, that board member has worked to revise bylaws, he's been the vice president, the past president, and has been a mentor and friend to Eric, and has also helped build a solid leadership succession progression for our board of directors. He has been a volunteer camera operator for sporting events, supported WCTV's annual fundraiser, 21 for Fun, and has been invaluable to all of us. We are very sorry to see him leave the board, but it's time for him to dive into the role of grandfather with the same energy that he brought to WCTV. And to being Facilities Director of Civic Hall Performing Arts Center. The Board of Directors would like to honor Jeff Thorne for his years of service to Whitewater Community Television. Thank you, Jeff.
Hello, my name is Jeff Thorne, Facilities Director of Civic Hall Performing Arts Center and current Board President of WCTV. I'm asking for your support becoming a member of WCTV. Hello, my name is Jeff Thorne, Facilities Director at Civic Hall Performing Arts Center. And I'd like to thank some volunteers at Civic Hall, our Civic Hall Usher Corps. Hello and welcome to the annual meeting for WCTV. And this is exciting to go live. So we have a great audience here, which is wonderful. And we have hopefully an audience there watching. So again, we're going live with our annual meeting for 2014.
Good afternoon. Thank you first for being here. I've said many times that I'm honored to be executive director of this organization and the group of dedicated people that bring you local entertainment and information. Let me start by introducing the folks who really do the work. I get to be the face of this, but there are people who work very hard to create the programs, the shows, the public service announcements, things that you have been able to view. First, not able to be with us because he is a student, senior at Purdue Polytechnic, is Brandon Gentry. Also a student, this time a senior at Indiana University East, and he's doing kind of dual duty for us. He is an intern as well as a part-time member of the staff, Ephraim Monahan. Ephraim. Wes Miller is at the back of the room. Wes, you may have interacted with during his many years at Earlham College. He's been with us for the last couple of years. The young lady who is taking all of the pictures standing at the back of the room and who is responsible for the cookies that you have in front of you is Caitlin Ballard. Caitlin went to school, Northeastern High School grad, went to college in Kansas and came back and has worked for us. Behind the camera over here is Anthony Crespin. You may have met Anthony at last year's event. He came to us from the East Coast about a year ago. Samantha Parks, good to see Samantha is here. She is not always with us. She has been with us for 9 years, about. She was an intern when she was at Richmond High School. She did her college internship with us. She has been working part-time for a number of years, but she spends most of her weekends and week working for a Cincinnati television station. But she has not yet walked away from us, although we may be getting close. Michelle Thompson, who greeted you at the door and who will greet you at the front desk if you come into our facility, is someone we could not do without. I can tell you that without Michelle, we would probably be wandering around, wondering where we're supposed to be and how we were supposed to get there. So she has put a lot of this together, the table tents, the production sheet that you have in front of you, the agenda. Please, I know she's out there somewhere. Give her a round of applause, please. If you've been at our 21 for Fun event, she does a lot of that work. She is invaluable. And lastly, the person that I have probably spent the most time with over the last 8 years, who probably is in my ear more than my wife, and who is responsible for a lot of the visual changes that you have seen take place at Whitewater Community Television over the last 8 years. I've gotten a lot of compliments about how the programming has been updated, the looks of the shows and things, and a lot of that has been because of the leadership and work of Ryan Harris. So thank you very much. If you have a copy of the 2018-19 fiscal year production report in front of you, and it is there, I'm not going to go through it point by point, trust me. But if anyone asks you what Whitewater Community Television does, just kind of drop that in front of them and let them read for a couple of minutes. We don't look at that very often, only about once a year, because it scares us. There is a lot of information, a lot of entertainment that is taken care of through that. But one of the things that we are proudest of is that we only facilitate a lot of that. A lot of that work, a lot of those shows are hosted by community members. Phil Quinn, who is hosting a show for Ivy Tech. Tim Scales, who's been hosting his program for 14 years and has done some special episodes with bankers and things. Rachel Hughes, who has been hosting the Third Sector for almost as long as Tim's show has been on, I think. It's been a number of years. It is about the community members, and that is why we say this is community media. One of the other things that we're very proud of are the 276 government meetings that we brought you during the last year. We're proudest because those aren't just about Richmond or a particular area. If you go through that list, we're in Centerville, we're in Dublin, we're in Greens Fork, we're in Fountain City, we're in Hagerstown. We are all around Wayne County. People have wanted to know what was going on with the conversation with the Wayne County Health Department and the Wayne County Health Clinic. We've tried to bring some of that information to you by going to some of their meetings. People have been wondering about the Western Wayne Sewer District and what would happen there. We've been covering those meetings, trying to bring the community a lot of information. We appreciate the fact that community members from around Wayne County have been willing to come in and talk to us. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had members running for Common Council in both Milton and Dublin come into the studio and spend some time talking about what's happening in their communities. And a year ago, August, we had 4 of the 5 Wayne County superintendents in the studio at one time talking about what the schools are like and what they're doing. So we definitely appreciate the fact that our conversation is not isolated in one particular area. We partner with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce and Hometown Media Group, as well as work with Brewer Broadcasting, the Palladium Item, and Whitewater Broadcasting, who airs the audio of our In Focus programs on Sunday morning, both on G1013 and on WKBV. We don't try to replace anyone. Instead, we work with anyone in the community that's interested in getting information out to them. We share live sports and recorded sports, not only that we produce, but are produced by students at Richmond High School and Randolph Eastern Schools. We bring you sports that is recorded by CTV3, which is the public access center down in Connorsville, as well as Access Fort Wayne, who's been nice enough to provide us with Fort Wayne Comet hockey games. We know how many hockey fans that there are in this area. While our local focus on Wayne County will always be our top priority, local can't just be Wayne County anymore. Eastern Indiana Works focuses on a 9-county area, and our relationship with them has taken us into most of those areas to record. We're beginning to better understand how opportunities, programs, talent, and employers from surrounding counties can impact what happens in Wayne County. We're also understanding how what happens in Wayne County can affect areas outside of us. So as Wayne County's largest employer, our county government and our EDC continue to work across county lines and state lines, we know that it's time that we follow their lead. As we continue to work on updating our facility, we will continue to update you on what's happening with that. Just a few months ago, we actually replaced all of the lighting in our studio that had been there for over a decade. We've talked for a couple of years about doing some updating on our website. That is beginning to come about. Brian's going to bring up our working site for what is going to be the WCTV.info page. You'll find this a lot easier to move around. You'll find it a lot easier to communicate with us, and you'll find it a lot easier to find programs and programming available to the community. Not only will it link you to our schedule in whatever form you'd like, weekly, monthly, or an agenda feed, it will also take you to our programs that are on our YouTube page, as well as our live video on demand and streaming for WGTV online. We'll keep you updated on our social media sites as we get closer to that launch. And speaking of social media, if you're an Instagram user, you can find us there now also. Need to thank a couple of people and a couple of of folks who have made some very personal donations to Whitewater Community Television. Ray and Sharon Anko have been very generous over the last couple of years, as has Tina Hill. Tina does not live in Richmond. She did grow up here. She moved to New York. She got involved in public access there and was using the Manhattan Public Access Center and made us a nice donation last Christmas. So we appreciate their support. Lastly, whether you are here in the room or whether you're watching at home, we want you to think about how you can put vision to your mission. Maybe you're a business that needs a recruitment or training video. We can help. Maybe you need a 30 or 60-second public service announcement for your website. We can help you with that. Maybe there are things that you feel like you want to be able to share with the community about what you do, what your organization does. We have a channel for that. WCTV Channel 21 really is very much about what the community creates and what the community wants to share. We can't always help for free. What we do does take money to survive, but reach out, talk to us, and let us see if we can help you add some vision to your mission. As we come a little bit closer to wrapping up this year's annual meeting, here's a visual look at some of what we've been able to show you during the past year. Thanks for watching.
Last, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. And a second. Second. Thank you. This year's WCTV annual membership meeting is adjourned. Have a very nice evening, and thank you for being part of this tonight.
The Whitewater Community Television 2019 annual meeting has been made possible through the support of Eastern Indiana Works, providing resources and assistance to employers looking for talent, and talent looking for a position, while helping develop tomorrow's workforce today. Eastern Indiana Works, the workforce development solution for Region 6. EasternIndianaWorks.org.